So hi, everybody. Welcome again to another edition of NTI PodTalk. This is our opportunity to talk to instructors, grads, students, other people who have interesting things to say, and to help you know what NTI is doing in the community. So today we are lucky to have one of our graduates, Maddie Kent, who is going to talk to us about a few things today, but I'm very excited to talk to Maddie. I ran into Maddie a couple of months ago at an event, and we were surprised to see each other there, I think, but it was really nice to reconnect with her, so I'm glad that we did get a chance to do that. So welcome, Maddie, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So I'm just curious, what attracted you to NTI in the first place, to be the school that you wanted to go to get your education for nutrition therapy?
Yeah, so like a lot of practitioners, my journey kind of started with my own health concerns and a lot of digestive issues. And luckily, I was actually already working at a functional medicine clinic just at the front counter. And, they kind of helped me delve deeper into finding root cause and doing some lab testing and getting to the root of it rather than just, giving me medication. And so I started to get really interested in this perspective. And so I shadowed the nutritionist on staff, and she was a registered dietitian, and then she had then gone back to school to be a little bit more holistic. And so I immediately enrolled back in college. So I already had 2 bachelors, and I was going again for a third to become a registered dietitian, and, being overwhelmed by the process. So I started doing biochemistry, and I started doing the biologies, and racking up a lot more student debt in the process. And while I was doing that, I started shadowing more nutritionists in town at functional medicine clinics to just learn more about their education. And one of the most influential women I met was not a dietitian. She was a nutrition therapist. And, I started asking her about, what my journey was, and if she felt like, I needed to keep going down this route of dietitian school. And she looked me frankly in the eye and said, "Do you have time and do you have money to pay for 2 educations?" And I said, "Well, no." And she goes, "Well, if this is what you want to learn how to do, you can do this at a nutrition school, and you don't necessarily have to be a dietitian, but you certainly can. It just depends where you want to work and who you want to work for." And so we started talking about options, and the first school she brought up was NTI. And she said, "I've had tons of NTI students come through here and shadow me." And she's like, "I'm always so impressed with the amount of knowledge they have." And so that was the first I'd heard of NTI. And I went and sat in one of the classrooms and was super impressed and felt right at home. And it was small, and it was, made me feel really connected to my instructors, and it immediately became my top priority. So I stopped going to the RD route, and I went the NTI route, and was super happy with that.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
Good. So just out of curiosity, you said you shadowed a lot of nutritionists. You did that on your own. You just reached out to people, you found people in the community and did that on your own.
I did, yeah. And I think it's because I was already having a little bit of confliction about, do I become a dietitian or do I become a nutritionist, and what is the difference? And
Right.
so I started, reaching out to people that were both dietitians and nutritionists. And what I was able to differentiate then was the knowledge I really wanted to learn and the people I really wanted to work with. So yeah, I did do that on my own.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And when did you graduate from NTI? What year?
I graduated at the end of 2017, so coming up on 3 years ago.
Yeah, good. All right, good. So since you've graduated, what have you been doing? How have you been using your certification?
So before I graduated, it was maybe a month before I graduated, I got a job working at a chiropractor's office, but they had just started like a pretty serious nutrition program that was kind of marketed as medical weight loss. didn't really know a lot about that world, but I was really excited to get a job and started working there. And it was a great way to learn what I didn't want to do. I learned a lot, but I was like, I was much more interested in the digestive realm because, again, that was my own personal experience. So I worked there for about 6 months. And then I started my own practice. So I kind of went headfirst into just doing my own thing and, feeling very nervous about it. But it all kind of came together with the nutritionist that I had shadowed and with the education of NTI and going through the motions of learning how to run your own practice. I just kind of went for it. So I started my practice, gosh, when was it? Actually at the end of it was actually the end of 2017, sorry, because I was working with the chiropractor in the 6 months in 2017 before I graduated. Yeah.
Cool. Good. So, and you're still doing private practice, and that's been successful for you and you're really enjoying it?
Yeah, and it's taken a lot of, twists and turns. I think I've been in 3 different office spaces, just trying to find the right spot for me. And currently I'm in a place that has a role for an acupuncturist, a massage therapist, and a chiropractor. And we're all independent entities, but we certainly are all under the same umbrella of functional medicine. So a lot of nice foot traffic here as far as people looking for my services. And it's been really great. I've really started to fine tune my market, my audience. At first, you just want to help everybody, and that's what I was doing. And I kind of realized that, to be really, really good at something, it's better to kind of niche down a little bit. So I've learned to do that, and I mainly primarily work with people with digestive issues. So that's my main focus and my main clientele.
Great, good. Well, that's really nice to hear that you're finding success. And I think that is one of the most impactful ways to practice, is to get together with a group of other like-minded practitioners that do, other practices, but that it's all sort of in this complementary healthcare, or as you say, functional healthcare. So you can refer to each other. That really helps.
Exactly. Yeah, that's been really important.
Yeah. So can you talk about some of the skills that you gained, or the topics that you learned at NTI that you still keep with you and still remember on a daily basis or a weekly basis that help you in your practice?
Yeah, I mean, I still have every single book on my bookshelf that I used through school. I do use a lot of them still.
Yeah.
And, I think some of the classes that were super foundational, I can't even remember the names of them, but I do remember you particularly always talking about the mechanism.
Yeah.
And that was something that's just been seared in my brain, especially when I'm, reading literature and there's just so much conflicting information, to really start to, use the skills that you learn at NTI about, really figuring out, is there truth behind this and how do I differentiate? And so I go back to that again. Can I figure out the mechanism behind this or not? And if I can't, then I have to, keep searching. So that was really valuable. Just the critical thinking that you have to do at NTI, like you have to walk through that process when you're writing papers and going through the exams. And it prepares your brain to do that on a daily basis when you're in practice. So that was really valuable. And then honestly, the community at NTI, I am still very connected with through like the Facebook group. There's a couple of them that I'm a part of, and it has been such a valuable resource for me to reach out to people that are in the same field and say, hey, I'm kind of stumped about something. I have a client with these certain symptoms. What do you guys think? And you just get all of these people with years of experience blatantly coming back with you and saying, oh, I had someone like that. You should read this book, or you should go to this website. And that has been so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is great. And our closed Facebook page is what you're talking about. That's a really impactful community to be a part of for both our students and our grads. So I'm glad that you're finding benefit in that.
Yeah, it's been great.
So a little bit about you. We're all nutritionists, and you talk about nutrition on a daily basis. But for you personally, what is your favorite food or nutrient? Something that you try to eat or take on a daily basis that helps you to function on a daily basis and really supports your efforts psychologically, physically, all around.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say what I learned a lot through NTI was how important fat was for my body, having really healthy fat for my brain, for my skin health, for, so many reasons. And so I make a really big point to have that a part of my everyday meal and snacks. So, I find that through, sardines. I love sardines.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not anchovies. People always think it's the salty fish I'm talking about, but very different. So sardines, I would say, are amazing for my brain. I feel lit up when I eat those. But I also make a really big point of trying to emphasize color. So when I think about produce, I have a goal to eat 5 different colors of produce every day. And so if I'm having, orange peppers in the morning, I make sure that I have maybe some like red in my salad. And that's kind of a fun way. And I talk to my clients about that too.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun goal because, all of those vibrant colors are showing you all their different nutrients and health benefits. And that's something that I feel confident doing and not worrying about supplementing in that case.
Yeah. Okay, good. Cool. I love that. 5 colors per day. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
And then within your eating, do you have like a routine, like intermittent fasting or, all kinds of different options? Do you have a particular routine that you follow?
Yeah, I would say, I vary a lot as far as when I wake up in the morning. There's some days that I'm just really hungry right away and I will eat right away. Other days I have the luxury of kind of waiting a few hours if I don't have clients immediately in the morning. But I do need brain food. Like before I start working for the day, I definitely need fuel. Because I think like most of us, if you start working before you eat, you kind of get caught up and, you kind of become less sensitive to your hunger signals. So I really make sure to always eat something before I really get going for the day. As far as meals throughout the day, I would say I kind of taper. I kind of have a big breakfast and then I kind of have a middle lunch and then my dinners are a little bit lighter. I just sleep better that way. So that's typically my pattern, but I'm really strong about having a lot of healthy snacks around because I'm human too. And if I don't have the right thing around, I will easily grab the wrong thing. Yeah. So I've, worked with my weaknesses to always have, a healthy snack available to me at my office and my car. So, again, like the things higher in protein and fat with like the nuts, hard-boiled eggs, nuts and seeds. And, there's some good bars out there now that aren't packed full of sugar, which is
good. Yeah, I found that too. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So what are your favorite go-to resources, like people that you follow, podcasts that you listen to regularly, journals or, magazines that you read regularly?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot.
I know. I know. It's hard to list.
But I would say, with my focus being more on digestion, I definitely turn to people like Alex Vasquez has some amazing, continuing ed type courses that I try to take. I would say, Jill Carnahan, she's even local. She's in Denver. She's a wonderful speaker. Allison Seebecker. And then I always try to listen to podcasts too while I'm driving, just to kind of keep my brain going, but also you just don't have a lot of time to read when you're working so much. Yeah. So I do listen to things like the Broken Brain series by, I guess that's a Mark Hyman thing, but they have some wonderful people on. Dr. Ruscio is another one that's more of a GI guy that he gets some really amazing people to interview. So yeah. I haven't quite paid for his resources yet, but he does have some journals that are coming out. Yeah. And so I love doing that. And as far as literature, I do get the Wise Traditions every year. I think maybe twice a year they send out a really good journal. And so I'm a part of their membership as well. So love working with them. So
Great, good. All
mhm.
right, good. Yeah, those are a lot of the same ones I like. I really like Michael Ruscio's. His speakers on his podcast are so good. His
Yeah.
interviews, yeah. So what's one of the most important things that you think that our students, prospective students, should know about being a future nutritionist?
Yeah. Wow. I would say that our services are really needed.
Yeah.
And, even though I feel like there's so many nutritionists in Fort Collins where I live, I've reached out to a number of them and we've gotten together and talked about how there's so many people to help that we're really not in competition with each other. And it's really kind of fun to collaborate when we can, because we all have different skills. And so collaboration would be something I would recommend to everybody to do right away. Like I did, I found value in, really starting to listen to people, sit in with them, shadow them, learn what you want to do, and fine tune that and start to find that where you can get that education.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was NTI. And, for other people, they may find another route. But, I was really happy that I started to narrow that down before I started to pay thousands of dollars into an education system that wasn't really serving the needs I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge. And then the other piece too is this job is a lot about teaching. And when you work with clients or larger populations of people. And so I've started to invest a lot of time in learning not only how I learn, but also observing how other people learn and learning that in the classroom too. When a teacher teaches you something and you're like, oh, something clicked, remembering that so you can reiterate that with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So just the whole process, just soak it in, be a sponge.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love the collaboration thing because I agree with you that there is so much need for nutritionists because, well, we all know that, the standard American diet is not supporting the American population, and we've got all kinds of chronic diseases that can definitely be tied to nutrition,
Yes.
Positively and negatively. And so it's not, we don't have to think about it as a competition thing. And I really like that you hold that up as a priority in your working with local practitioners. And then teaching, you are so right. Like oftentimes we talk about how at NTI we are teaching the teacher because it really does come down to teaching our clients about why they need our services and why they need the advice that we're giving them, because oftentimes they don't really recognize, they make, so first of all, you have a group of people who may come to a nutritionist because someone told them that maybe they should check out a nutritionist or whatever, but and then you have a whole other group of people who don't even recognize that they need nutritional support. So once we get people in front of us, whether that's because they came to us on their own, or we are doing a presentation for the public somewhere, it comes down to us teaching people why they need to be more cognizant of the food that they consume and teaching them how that actually impacts their body function. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And learning how to, express that to somebody and make them excited and empowered by it is like
yes.
the best gift ever. Because I've certainly been to practitioners where I left there feeling like worse than I felt walking in, because now I'm overwhelmed and I'm confused and I don't know what to do next. And so it's really neat to provide a service to someone where you're like, I hear you, I see you, you're not crazy, this is what we can do about this, and giving people that hope and turning that message back to themselves that they have that power to heal themselves. They just need the education, and that's kind of where we come in, which is a cool job. I think I have the best job in the world.
Yeah, cool, good. All right, well, good. So Maddie, that is all the questions I have for you. I really want to thank you once again for taking the time out to be here today. It's so empowering to our students to see what grads are doing after they leave school, because oftentimes I feel like they get overwhelmed and, with exams and quizzes and assignments and reading, and, it's just like go, go, go all the time. And sometimes they don't actually get a sense of what are they actually working towards once they graduate. So I really appreciate you talking to us today, and it was a fun conversation. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And I wish you a great rest of your day and a great week. So thanks.
Thank you, Diane. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
All right. Bye.